This video is just to kind of show you how I box, in this case, 3 tunes: my Bard, my Rogue, and my Warrior. Or a Warrior, I would say. My Warrior might be too strong a word. But the Bard is mine, and the Rogue is definitely mine. And usually I go with the Shadow Knight, but the fact is, a Warrior is a much easier tank to box. In this case, I pull with the Warrior because switching from Warrior to Bard can be a little complicated. If I get a couple mobs, it'll be no problem. I switch at this point to the Rogue, get myself in line. I hit the 1 key, which is a group assist key, and I will hit, I've got some burn keys, some disc keys, they're all in the line. I press whatever is up, and he starts doing great damage. Then I can switch to the Bard. I hit the 1 key, which is the group assist key, and it also starts his melody. And in all cases, I'll usually hit the P key on the character because those are my mash line keys. Those are all things that go off all at once. And I just switch from character to character, hit the 1, hit the 2, hit the P. It's very simple. Pull with the Warrior, try and get aggro. If you're paying attention, at one point I'm going to lose aggro on the Warrior and he'll start attacking the Bard. That's laziness on my part. With the Warrior, especially pulling singles, if I just hit a few more keys, his aggro would be completely locked. And he is dual wielding here, and I'm not even using any defensive discs or anything because I've got 3 mercenary clerics up, which is rather ridiculous, but this is about making it as easy as possible. This isn't about performing to my maximum. If I want to do that, I've got a Bard to go get a group with, a Warrior to go get a group with, a Rogue to get a group with. This is, let's knock out a mercenary task, let's knock out a partisan task, or even let's do Final Fugue. You can do all of those with the properly geared characters. And all of these characters now, the Bard is completely free to play, so he doesn't have any augments to speak of. The Rogue is set up to be free to play. He is actually gold right now, and this tank is a rather impressive tank that I am using. I will, once I kind of get through this initial setup, kill a few mobs, I will switch over and talk briefly about the Warrior setup I'm working on. That's still a work in progress. I'm going to fall quiet now, kill the last mob or 2, and then I will go over my Warrior setup. Okay, I've shown you how I three box a bard, a rogue, and a warrior. And I chose this setup because it's so easy to box a bard. It's so easy to box a warrior in contrast to a shadow knight or a paladin. If you're maining, if that's your primary focus, you could do great work with a shadow knight. They're an amazing class. And I would say if you're going to just play one tank, the shadow knight is the tank to play. But if you're boxing, the warrior is easier. There's no doubt about that. A bard is easier than an enchanter. And a rogue, well, I actually pay more attention on the rogue because that is my DPS. I could drop in a wizard just as easily. I could also drop in a mage. Whatever you want to choose as your DPS, but I find the rogue is very effective in this expansion. It's pretty easy to box, and I try and spend as much time on that because I can do more damage with that. You notice I had 3 mercenary healers up. I don't need 3 mercenary healers up. 2, arguably 2. The reason I say that is because I don't want to focus on healing the warrior or keeping him up. He's got plenty of gear, he's a beefy tank. I want to pull the mob and I pull on the warrior because the switch from bard to warrior can be complicated. So I pull on the warrior, I get aggro. In this case, if you were watching, you notice I lost aggro at one point and the mob turned and started attacking the warrior. That was on me. I should have spent a little bit more time nailing down aggro, getting aggro locked before I switched. But that only happened that one time. A warrior's, dual wielding. He's got 2 warrior weapons, the rage. I'm not worried. Warriors do incredible DPS, but I'm not worried about the warrior's DPS. I'm dual wielding because this was simple stuff, but if it was a little more intense, I wouldn't hesitate to go shield and sword because it's not about the DPS of the warrior. My rogue is the DPS. I can do a lot more DPS on my rogue. So the way I set this guy up is all of my keys are very similar. In all cases, I would press the 1 key for the bard. That starts his melody going. It targets groups assists, targets the mob that we're attacking, and starts attacking. And then I'll hit the P key, which is my mash key, starts the epic, and then I switch to the rogue. I hit the attack key, I start his burns, I pick a disc. They're all in line. I just go whatever disc is up, I pop. And then I hit the P key, which is the mash key. I'm not going to hit it all the time because I'm going to be switch. For the rogue, now that's the rogue. For the warrior, I have the same thing. I can hit the leap attack. That has grappling strike, call of challenge. You can put anything you want in the 5th key. You can put taunt. Remember that taunt with the AAs does more than just taunt now, so you don't necessarily want to hold off on that. This is a work in progress. I'm testing it out. I'm going and doing the North Road Towers. I did a final fugue mission. I'm trying to figure out how to best play this warrior. Here we have Battle Leap and Do Ability 1 and Reactive. Now you'll notice something here. I've got these mislabeled, so how do I want to do that? Let's switch those. Switch this. Did I say this is a work in progress? This is a switch. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Leap attack. We're going to switch that and fix that. And then we're going to make this grapple attack. They both do the same. You want to have that leap done once per once each time you zone in. That gives you a really nice boost to your damage, and it's now permanent. You don't need to do it every time. On the other hand, I think it's fun. I like leaping to the mob. It's one way of instantly getting to the mob you're attacking. The other way is grapple attack. I like to use one or the other because if I am boxing, I don't want to have to look around and find out where the mob comes if somebody's coming in. Range attack. My range attack is a little fancy smancy. Turns attack off. Bandolier activate range. Turns on auto fire. Turns off auto fire. and activates dual wielding. This is simply, range attack is simply a pulling technique for me. If my warrior's fury is up, I'll pull with that because that's got a 200 range. I have a burn key. I didn't use it this time. This, again, for boxing like this, simple boxing, I just pretty much use these keys. And this is my P key, which we will target the dummy. I hit that key, and all of this stuff, hit it again, goes off. I've got bash, which is on auto activate. If let's see, for some reason I can't show it there, but I can show it here. So let's try this. Why isn't it picking up? I have no idea why that is not showing up as auto activate. Because what I generally do is I auto activate bash and I leave kick unauto activated, but I put both in my mash line. If I have a shield out, then bash will work. If I have dual wielding, then kick will work. Whichever, I put in bash first and kick. So that's the goal. I put in taunt again. This is my mash line. So you can have one social key with 5 lines in a mash line like this. If you have more than one, they don't seem to go off. You can have one item. If you have more than one item, an item is a good way to stop it. But this goes off. So generally I'll hit my attack key and then the P key. And then I might, over here is all aggro type situation. So, I might hit a little aggro here. I have, I use the version that lets you give hatred to all of your enemies. A lot of people like to use the single target version when they have single targets like I was doing. Again, I'm boxing like this. I'm trying to keep aggro on the warrior as much as possible. What do we got here? Commanding voice, champion's aura, 0. This is my invis key. Anytime all my characters are set up that I hit the 0 key, it's the invis key. All my characters are set up so that if I hit the P key, it does a mash button. All my characters are set up so I hit the number 1, the 1 key on the number pad, it starts an attack. They're all set up that way. So these are all very similar setups. I didn't do it. This is laziness, but over here, this line, shift 1, I wasn't even paying attention. This is my defensive line. So usually I'll do this and it'll just be up all the time. If I need a little more emphasis, I have a key here that will stop the disc because I always have vigorous defense up, so I want to stop it. And it'll start my ultimate or climactic stand now. It'll shield my cleric, whoever that happens to be. If there is a faith, it'll shield faith. You can only do it once. It won't get these guys. If faith's not there, then this will drop down and it will shield. Well, if I'm targeting a person, then it'll shield them. But if not, it just drops down the list of healers, whoever I happen to be working with that day. End of the line, these are Shield, Blade Guardian, Brace for Impact, Warlord's Bravery. These are all extras. This is my things are going bad key, and I probably should break that out, but this is where this is like, hey, it's going bad. I want some heals. I want some extra defensive. I want it all. And then shield key, shield. If I'm targeting a live person, it'll shield that. So say I'm targeting, I manually target the enchanter, he's shielded. If not, it'll start working down the list until it finds a living person. It will not shield a mercenary. It won't shield a mob. It'll only shield an actual PC. And so there's your shield key. As I said, this is very much a work in progress. I am trying to perfect it, or maybe that's too strong a word. I'm trying to work out the kinks so that I can play a warrior effectively under a variety of situations. Each of these three characters are characters that I can, if I'm looking for a group and they need a tank, I can play just the tank. If they need a bard, a crowd control, a puller, I can play just the bard. And if they need DPS, I've got the rogue. So these three characters I can solo myself. Solo is the wrong term, but I can go out and accomplish quests and tasks. I can even do a simple mission. I can't do the Hero's Forge mission. That's too complex. I can't box that, but I can box Final Fugue. That is not particularly complex. And I can do the partisan tasks. I can do the quests. So if I don't have a group, these three characters let me go. And because I'm using three mercenaries, it's very low stress. It's very low stress. If I screw up, if I pull an extra couple mobs, I should be able to handle it. If I need to go to the bard and focus on the bard and mez, there I am. I'm ready. Good luck, guys. I don't know if this was helpful, but I wanted to show how I actually put together these packages that I'm showing you. Talk to you later.